Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Taste of Dragons, the Toddcast, the video game podcast that all of you runners listen to. This week, it's a rehash of last week, but for the final time. The news is updating, our topic is sightseeing, and the dragon this week is first in her field. As always, my name is Brian.
My name is Troy.
Amanda.
And I'm Joe.
All right, so...
Brian, did you say all you runners out there?
That's right, all you runners, all of you speed runners, all of you actual runners.
Okay, I thought you meant like actual running, and I can't stand behind that.
I know everyone listens to this, but definitely not athletes, right? That's not our demographic.
I don't know. When we've gone on a few walks, or dare I say jogs every once in a while.
We never jog.
Sometimes I'm just running away from something. I'll have my earpods in. I'll have my iPhone in, and I'll be listening to a podcast. So
yeah,
I think podcasts and exercise go hand in hand.
Can we rehash that? Right. Can we say all you brisk walkers?
There we go. All you jaunty joggers. Minus the
those are risky runners over there. I don't
know.
No,
they're not. That's too much. It's too intense. Scale it back.
But yeah, how have you guys been holding up this week?
Oh, same old. Much like everyone else, I guess. Still inside, still making do with what we can, still trying to figure it out.
We definitely have a very intimate understanding of the inside of our home.
Oh my gosh. Every wall has a name. That's Jeremy, that's Marisol, that's Limerick. It's like Limerick and Lumerary, but it's a Limerick. They're special.
Troy decided on which corner was the best one to hide in. I mean, you got to know these things, just in case.
You got to know. You never know how the world's going to turn out after this.
Spoiler, it's the one where Limerick is. It's between Limerick and Jeremy.
It's going to be a real weird thing.
Now everyone knows. You got to change it.
Yeah. It's going to be a real weird thing. Like, hey, anybody know where Troy is? Yeah, he's with Limerick. What did you just say? Yeah, don't worry about it.
We've been inside for a very long time.
Hashtag 2020.
All right, well, let's get into our games then.
That'd probably be smart.
What are you playing? We do have a lot of times to play video games.
We did.
That is a fact from staying indoors all this. Lots of video game time. I've been playing more video games than watching TV, which is pretty cool for the podcast.
Same here.
Yeah, same. So Joe and Manda, what have you guys been playing this week?
Well, we're still playing Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing.
I thought you were going to sing that like Shirley Temple. You were going to be like, Animal Crossing in my soup. It was a good build-up. But yeah, it's still Animal Crossing. It's dug its claws deep into our soul.
Yeah, what's happening this week for y'all? What's like your game plan?
I decided I was going to actually start moving trees and terraforming a little.
Ooh.
Very little.
Nice.
I don't really want to futz with too much of my town. I like it the way it is. I've built things around it the way it is. And to move lots of that stuff would just cost lots of bells and take way too much time. So I terraformed a little bit.
You smash that island. You smash it good.
That's what I did. And bought lots of shrubs.
I have 4 stars this week. And I've had 4 stars for like the past 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and
you
it's
have.
beginning to get really disappointing, mostly because I like the way that my island looks.
Oh.
Isabel rates islanders on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the max.
Right.
And I think personally that I have a much better island than she's giving me credit for. And she's like, you should put more stuff outside. And I was like, no, it'll look messy.
Sometimes less is more, Isabel.
Maybe you should just give me the watering can.
Just give it up. Everything's been really nice for weeks now. I've had a 4-star island on and off for like the last 2 weeks, and like the last 3 or 4 days it's been 4 stars. And I am real tired of her telling me to put some more stuff outside. I had like nothing anywhere because I didn't want it that way.
Yeah,
I spent I think 40,000 Nook miles yesterday, or in the last 3 days, sorry. Just putting things in the island just to see if she would stop telling me to put things out there. like I was well on my way to 200,000 Nook miles, and now I'm like back down to 170, and I'm like, I've had enough. I was really just trying to see if I could break the Nook miles thing, and I'm never gonna break it because she's gonna keep telling me to buy stupid looking things. I don't want teacups. I'm not about the teacups.
Right?
What the heck, man?
She told me the same thing, and in my game, she was right. There are like 2 sections on my island that I haven't built up that I totally forgot about. And when she was like, you got to spread some things out, put some things everywhere. I'm like, there are things everywhere. What are you talking about? And then yesterday I was walking around and was like, oh no. Oh, I forgot this even existed. I've been turning a blind eye. So
did you guys get asked to pull all the weeds in town? Like,
right.
Like did you have to do that? Because I did it this morning and I'm very upset about it. I loved my weeds.
I pulled all my weeds like week 1. So I don't know if she would have made me or not, but I do have a small section outside one of my villagers' homes that has a bunch of weeds, and she hasn't asked me to pull those yet. So it's like a 9x9 maybe.
She told me I needed to take everything off the floor, and at this point I was like, but there really isn't anything on the floor anymore. If I have supplies outside, the supplies are on tables or they're on benches. They're not actually on the floor.
Right.
So I was like, oh man, I hope she's not talking about the weeds. And I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna take them out and see what happens.
She told Troy he had too much trash.
Well, I have like a slum area, and so I do have weeds there, and that's the only place I have weeds. But I like it. Like, it's a good aesthetic. That boot looks good. That tire is fashionable. So I'm also kind of fighting that notion of like, hey, you got to make your island look better. And I'm like, no, but it looks good to me. Don't put me in your box, Isabel.
Yeah, I feel like you're just gonna have to like sacrifice your aesthetics for like a day in order to get your 5-star, and then you're like, all right, we're fine now. I can put things back to the way they like it.
Right.
So yeah, that's basically what's been going on in town. I mean, you know, there's updates and shrubberies and things that we can't really explain yet because it's only day 1 of those things. So hopefully next week we'll have some more info on that jazz for you.
Yeah, still very exciting.
Breaking news: Animal Crossing is still great.
Who would have thunk? More than a month later.
I did have a friend who's online who talked about it being like a MMO in disguise because he's on the Twitter, the Discord, we're on the Facebook group. Like, it's kind of an MMO in disguise, and it's great. Having fun with it.
No, fair enough. That's not a bad comparison there at all. I like it. All right, cool. Well, yeah, gig game yet again this week. Now let's get into our second game, which, Troy, what have you been playing this week?
I finished Final Fantasy VII, the remake.
Ooh. What? Me too.
Man, I did not expect that game to be as long as it was. And
agreed.
As I was playing it, I was like, did Brian already finish this? When did he finish this? How could he? I was just like, the last 3 days, I've just been all consumed trying to finish this game. And it's kind of weird because I know where it ends. Like, I know how it's supposed to end. So I know there's only like, you know, maybe 20 minutes of the game left. But then 3 hours later, I'm like, why am I not even like 10 minutes into those 20 yet?
Yeah.
I know that I don't have the nostalgia for this game that other people do.
Yeah.
But I have to say, so far I have been very unimpressed. Every time Troy's like, you should watch this, it's just like, hey, are you just running up a staircase forever? Is that what you're doing? Is this an hour and a half of you clicking on dots inside of a menu?
Okay.
Are you just in a battle simulator for the next 4 hours? Is this the game?
Okay, 2 out of the 3 of those things are some of the best parts of the game.
Yeah. Well, that's fair. So Joe and I will be discussing spoilers. So if you have not completed the game, maybe put off the next 7 minutes or so because we will be talking about it.
Yeah. We'll give some of our final thoughts and then launch into the ending, so to speak.
Yeah, agreed. I'm fine with that.
But yeah, there definitely will be some spoilers when we talk about the ending,
yes.
Which is cool. What were your final thoughts on just like the game itself? Like, regardless of the ending, like, Brian, like, how did you feel about it?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. As a person who didn't mind Final Fantasy 13 and that style of gameplay, as a person who also didn't mind Final Fantasy 15 and that style of combat, I actually enjoyed the game, especially because it also had my favorite Final Fantasy story on it.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed the game, especially for what it was.
Okay.
That's where I'm going to go with it. I enjoyed it for what it was.
Cool,
How about
cool.
you, Troy?
I found it surprising. Like I was really going into this thinking they were just going to just do a final, like they could have just done the gloss and made anything, and then I would have been happy because I'm a Final Fantasy VII fanboy. But I was surprised when they opened it up to have some quest system, and then I was surprised that they took the quest system away, and then I was surprised when they brought the quest system back.
Yeah.
But what I was mostly surprised is how I kind of reconnected with the characters. Like, I grew up with these characters. I love these characters already. I didn't expect to, like, learn new things and feel deeper about them. I thought I was already there.
Yeah. Yeah, like who'd have thunk like spending, 30 to 40 hours with characters would feel slightly different than, 4.
Yeah. Yeah. And not just that, but seeing the subtlety in the characters. All of that was left up to your imagination in the past, but being able to just see like Tifa and Barrett really lament, the loss of their friends, and to see and to take the time to actualize their grieving process. I ended up connecting with all these characters all over again, which I'm guessing was their point.
Oh yeah. No, I agree. So now we're gonna get into some spoilers. So skip the next 5-7 minutes, whatever. Because for me, I really enjoyed the climbing the wall up to climbing the pillar, or climbing former Section 7.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that sequence because I actually knew what it was. Not that I didn't know what it was in 7, but it was very, this is, you could actually tell, I'm going up a building and I'm going, I'm climbing ever higher.
Yeah.
Whereas with the original one, it's like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I know there's wreckage below me, but I don't know where the hell I am.
Right. You don't really get a great sense of place.
Exactly.
But you definitely achieve that in this game.
Yes.
Yeah. There was some padding out towards the end that was a little bit like a little cringy.
A little.
Like literally, you're like, all you have to do is open the door, and like, oh no, the key gets taken by a rat, and now you're running around the sewers for another 2 hours, and it's like, fine.
So many new characters were just dropped off the face of the earth. Like the one dude during the I think it's chapter 3 or 4 with the motorcycle sequence, the new soldier.
Yeah.
That just appears out of nowhere. It's like, all right, cool. And then he's gone.
They introduce this new character that is like a dancing motorcyclist with a sword, who is like the one thing that can like combat Cloud and his acrobatics. And you fight him like in the middle of the game, and you think, oh, okay, he's going to be back because like nothing's resolved. Nope. Nope. He rode off into the sunset, was totally satisfied with that encounter.
If you think about it, that's probably more realistic because he has other things to do in his life. His whole life doesn't revolve around like you and your adventure. He's like, no, I'm doing my job.
So Troy, a question: Did you actually think the way that the ending was going? So the whole rip in Destiny, the whole everything. Right. Did you think the game might actually have ended at this?
I gotta tell Mandy what happened. I gotta tell Mandy what happened in this. Okay, Mandy. All right. Mandy. It's Final Fantasy VII, the remake. Spoilers. It's a remake, right? So we're just going through playing Final Fantasy.
Right.
And the only difference in this game from the original, besides the graphics, are like those ghost hooded things that are flying around that you saw. And I thought that was just kind of like them fleshing out like a theory in it, in a different way. I was wrong, because at the finale of this game, those things kind of like condense together and like formulate like this huge monster, so to speak. And pretty much they make like a gateway that Sephiroth comes out of and then tells Cloud like, hey, come with me. And before Cloud does, Aerith stops him and goes, wait a second, something's not right. And I don't know what, and I don't know why. And she like waves her hand, and they get like a premonition, and she's like, something's happening and we have to make a choice. And we're like, what do you mean? And she's like, Destiny's on the other side of this, and we need to take it in our own hands. And they're like, okay, well, we have to do this to save the world. Let's go. And they all jump into this like portal, and then you have this sequence where, as you are kind of taking on the embodiment of these hoods, they're kind of like, they're called whispers, but they're kind of like the whispers of destiny. They're trying to keep things on track to how they're supposed to be. As you're fighting it, you get these glimpses into the original Final Fantasy game in moments that happened after these events.
Okay.
So like the thing with Aerith and like you're seeing, but they're showing the original game,
Right.
like with the original graphics
Right.
as the future that they're seeing. And they're saying, we can't let that happen because in that future, good things happen, but also a lot of bad things happen to like innocents. So they pretty much fight Destiny, take it by the hand, throw it out the window and say, the next step is unknown.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna do a remake, and a lot of the steps are gonna be the same, but we're also not gonna make that same game over again.
Right.
Kind of thing. That's cool.
Because
Yeah.
I went from being like, oh, I can't wait till they go to this location or this event happens or this event happens. And now I'm more excited because I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
They
the
did
game
it!
actually ends with the game ends with the untold journey will continue.
They
It's like, oh,
definitely are gonna kill Aerith again.
I'm so surprised. No,
Right,
I think
definitely.
they're going to kill Cloud. I think the roles are reversed. He sacrifices himself because in this new timeline,
Right.
Zach, the character that dies, is alive.
Oh, interesting.
Like all time is Destiny's like broken. So
Right.
things that have happened have not happened. He's alluded to be alive now.
They leaned so far into Aerith being like, "Are you gonna miss me?" And like, you
Right.
know, she dies. And then the fact that they're like, "Oh, and now time changes," everyone's gonna be like, "Maybe Aerith doesn't die," but she's don't. She's going to. She's just going to.
No, stop it. This is my only hope. Don't do this again to me.
the way I took the Whispers or whatever, I took it as the Whispers were hardcore fans, and I took Sephiroth as the game developers. So the Whispers, because the Whispers are Destiny, they're trying to make sure that everything that happens or is supposed to happen continues to happen.
Wow.
So
They're like, why weren't
Wedge
Tifa's
dies in the
boobs
original
bigger?
one.
Why
Yeah,
is
yeah.
Red 13 so early in the game? Why did?
Because Wedge dies Wedge dies in the original,
Yeah.
but he survived in this one.
He did.
And then later on in the building, Wedge is just like, all right, he's just chilling in Shinra, and then all the Whispers come out and push him off the edge.
So yeah.
So
all the things
so
in
they
this
so they make it so he dies.
all the things in this game that have not been part of the original, those ghosts would show up and attack, but you didn't know why. And it was because they were diverting from the original plot. And it was
Exactly,
like the game fighting itself. It was like the
So it's
original.
like developers personified angry fans, and it was just like, well, you know, if you complain, that's fine, but that makes you a whisper. And this is what
Yeah.
we do to whispers. Step.
It's all of the Final Fantasy original diehards who don't want a remake
Right, just play that
are
other
the
game.
angry
then.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, because Barrett gets stabbed by Sephiroth, and everybody's like, oh damn, this didn't happen.
Yeah.
And then all the Whispers come out and heal Barrett, so nothing happened.
Right.
And so
If this
and
is a
so like
game-
it continues on, and then like at the very 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 end when Sephiroth comes out, because all the Whispers are pretty much, it seemed like, because they're swirling around Shinra, it's almost as if they're protecting Shinra to make sure everything continues to happen the way it is. And Sephiroth cuts his sword through them and completely tears Destiny and tears reality and creates a sub-reality that you walk into, and that's where the finale happens, where you're actually attacking the Whispers.
I'm on board with this
And-
change as long as they don't go full Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, too late. Oh no, there's no way. It's I don't even know. It's probably already there, but we're so
what
into
if
it.
the next episode they walk out and it's just they're in that dream version of the computer version where
no.
Sora's there? Huh?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it could happen. It could happen.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't.
Oh, it could.
But
But I thoroughly enjoyed the ending of this game. Leading up to the ending, I was like, I don't know if I'm enjoying, not enjoying it, but I don't know if I'm agreeing with where this is going. And then the finale happens, you face off with Sephiroth, the music happens, everything's going, and I'm in it. And then that ending happens where it's just like, well, anything can happen now.
Or
like
like-
you have Biggs. Biggs is in his original is in the orphanage, so Biggs isn't dead now.
it's like
which he was in the original.
anything could be possible, but like not. It's crazy because the Final Fantasy VII remake is a story where it's literally challenging the original concept of Final Fantasy. That's such a high brow freaking concept. Kingdom Hearts. It's just Kingdom
It's
Hearts.
just Kingdom
Gosh,
Hearts.
it's just Kingdom Hearts. You're right. Goodness. I can't wait
Did
to see
Kojima
where
write
this
this?
goes.
right. The next game, you're just going to be delivering packages. They saw how successful that game was, and they're like, you know what?
Hey, Cloud did it first. That's what he was doing in Advent Children. He was delivering packages.
You know what this really is, though? This is just like one person's fanfic that they found deep in some like subreddit.
They're like, this is better. Yeah. This is
They're
better.
like, oh, Final Fantasy fights Final Fantasy. I like it.
What if this is a different Star Wars movie now?
Oh, there were some really good Vader Luke moments in this remake that I saw.
Oh, there were.
Ever since you told me about the Star Wars connection to Final Fantasy,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sephiroth is literally like, "Take my hand, we can do this together."
No.
Essentially, yeah.
But I can't
great.
wait to see what a sequel looks like, where they're going down the set path and they're fighting going down the set path. Like, I'm in now. I'm totally in. I was just going to do it just to do it before, but now I'm totally bought into this franchise.
I took the ending as the game developers have defeated the hardcore fans, so now they can go wherever they want. I took it as the whispers won't be in the future games. Like there may be whispers of them.
No, I think they have to be.
But I don't think they're going to be in, because I think the ending of the game is you defeating the whispers.
Huh.
Because they disperse. Like you defeated the giant, which he looked like Ultima Weapon from the Final Fantasy VII, but it was just the giant whisper,
right? And
as soon as you defeated it, it also looked like it retroactively defeated it, because it looked like Zack. That's what happened with Zack as well.
Yeah, I'm a little confused about the time travel aspect of this.
Yeah. So I don't know what's exactly happening now.
And that's why I'm so excited. I don't know what's going to happen, which is not what I said when I started this game. Because I knew everything that happened. Granted,
Agreed.
I was like 16 when I last played it. But so I kind of remember. But now I'm excited. Now I'm just, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm in.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
It's great.
Boss.
Yep. So yeah, that's I think that'll do it for our Final Fantasy. I'm looking forward to future. Maybe we'll do a tasty topic on it or a mighty morsel in the future. But I'm good where I'm at.
Mind
I think
pleasantly blown.
Yeah, agreed.
Granted, that was also 7:00 in the morning today. I stayed up all night trying to finish it before this podcast. I may also be sleep deprived.
This says a lot about the game that I went to bed at 11 p.m. and you were like, man, you thought you were going to finish it. You were like, I'm going to finish it tonight. And the fact that was 8 hours earlier than you thought it was going to be done is very funny.
I ended up clocking in about 54 hours on that game.
Oh, yeah? I think I was at 43 and a half.
Okay. I did some extra grinding, get some of that extra grinding. Anyway, we're in the weeds now.
Yeah.
Fun game.
Final Fantasy VII Remake. It was great. I think you definitely had to play the original Final Fantasy VII in order to get this.
Yeah,
I think
it would not have hit as hard if you didn't play the original.
Agreed.
I didn't, and it doesn't.
And that's fair. That's fair.
Oh man.
All right, so that'll do it for our games this week, and now let's get into our news segment. News. All right, so in this week's Stop It COVID,
Stop it, COVID.
Right? Death Stranding's PC release has been delayed. It will now be released on July 14th instead of June 2nd. And it is directly related to their stay-at-home development that they're doing now. So, hey, got to do it safely. You got to do what you got to do.
Yep.
So, and then in the next bit of news, Troy, you got a little bit of music news, right?
So this week, something amazing happened, and it happened in Fortnite.
It happened.
Let me just get that out of the way. This is a Fortnite-related thing. Travis Scott, the rapper, musical artist, fusion hip-hop artist, he had to kind of cancel his tour because of COVID. Stop it, COVID. And so he decided he didn't want to not put out his new album. So he decided to debut his astronomical album in Fortnite with a concert. Now,
wow.
Travis Scott is one of those people where I know the name. I know he's married to one of the Kardashians, but I didn't realize I knew his music till I started listening to it, and I was like, oh, you did that. Oh, you did that. Okay, all right, I gotcha. He's very popular. I jumped into Fortnite, and I had to wait a half an hour because the queue was crazy. If you didn't get in at the beginning, you don't get in. And I wanted to be there for the first concert. So you waited a half hour of just mundane Fortnite BS. People are just shooting you and dancing, and there's bananas and goats and gold people, and it's just I don't really like Fortnite that much. It's okay. I'm a good hide and go seek player, but nothing else.
Yeah.
So it's that for a half an hour. So it kind of builds up the anticipation. There's a concert venue there. And as it ticks down, you go to this concert venue and you look up in the sky, and there was just this purple comet, like way off in the distance, slowly falling to Earth. And as it got closer, you were like, oh, this is not a comet. This is like an alien ship in the form of a speaker disguised as a comet. And on top of this comet is just like roller coasters and carnivals and theme park rides. And it gets closer and closer, and it just kind of hovers in front of you like a UFO. You're like, whoa, that's cool. And you look above it, and there's this giant purple swirl that's like going crazy. And it comes closer and closer and slams in front of you. And then you get blasted into the air like 1,000,000 feet. And out of the smoke rises a giant Travis Scott, who immediately goes into his first album. It was incredible. Oh my gosh. It was like the modern day Fantasia. Like the rest of my time there was just like soaring through the sky. He would like punch the water, and then everyone was drowning underwater and then swimming through like this area of like sharks and stuff. And he's rapping and the music is happening, and it was so immersively trippy and just amazing. At one point you got shot into space, and then Kid Cudi comes out, who was a rapper who went through some depression and hasn't been making a lot of music. He came back in Fortnite and debuted a song for the first time with Travis Scott in this game, and he was like a spaceman. And you were flying around in space. Like, it was so conceptually gripping, and the idea that there were like over 12 million people experiencing this at the same time gave you this amazing like global feel of like you are in on this on ground level.
Yeah.
Remarkable experience. And the music was great too. Like, I kind of want to get this album now. It totally worked.
It was a very short album though. So
what happened was you were so immersed in how like amazing the visual and spectacle and what they were doing with the environment, that all of a sudden it cut out and you were like, wait, what? And you realize it was only maybe like 7 minutes or 5 minutes. I don't even know. It wasn't that long. It felt like forever, but it really wasn't. And when you got dropped back out, it was very much just like, all right, now play Fortnite. And I was like, oh, that was kind of a really lame ending for such an amazing like experience.
Yeah, Troy was going through it, and I was like, oh, that was the first song, that was great. And Troy's like, no, that was everything. And I was like, oh, okay.
He did samples of like 5 songs.
His album was like a single.
He gave you a little taste.
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, it was an amazing experience that didn't quite stick the landing, because in the end, the last thing I want to do is play Fortnite, I guess.
Yeah.
Especially like that. Anyway,
He should have debuted in Animal Crossing.
He should. Oh my gosh.
And Animalese.
Oh, I'm for it. Tom Nook is just like, murmur. Rossetti shows up.
KK Slider comes out.
Oh, Rossetti at a rock concert would be great.
KK Slider is his backup.
It's actually KK Scott.
KK Scott. Cool thing. It's exciting to be on the forefront of what could be a really cool avenue for artists to show their music. Yeah.
So right after Stop It COVID, we have a thank you COVID.
I'm gonna give it like all right COVID.
All right, COVID. All right, fair enough.
Or maybe thank you, video game developers, for pulling this together despite COVID. Huh?
Yeah.
It's not catchy.
Yeah.
It's not catchy.
Definitely. Especially because it seems like they're getting better with it as well. Because I remember the first ones that they were doing, like with like Marshmallow and a couple other ones.
This is why it blew me away,
kind of
because
like,
when we saw the Star Wars one, it was just like a little tiny J.J. Abrams on a stage. Then you watched a video. So I was expecting just like a little version of Travis Scott. He'll hop around. We'll do some emotes. He'll bring the house down, all that good stuff. And like, that's what I was expecting, to then see a Godzilla version of him coming at me. Incredible way to see a concert. I only want to see concerts like this now.
Yeah.
How do we get Guar inside Fortnite?
Oh.
I could actually see that. I could see it.
Actually, it's not far off from what Fortnite already is.
Really not. They'd actually
like
have to put
Fortnite,
less
but
blood
sticky.
in it. That brings sticky grenades a whole new meaning.
Moving on.
Moving on.
I don't hate Fortnite that much. But, okay.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, speaking of Fortnite, they also finally released on the Google Play Store. It's always been available, or for the last 18 months, it's been available for Google or for Google phones, but you can only sideload it. So you got to go to the Fortnite website and kind of go through some rigmarole in order to actually install it. So now it's actually on the official store, which is great news for people who I guess don't want to disable that one feature of their phone. But bad news for the Fortnite developers because now they have to give up 30% of whatever people spend on it.
Give it up. Give it up.
Give it up.
You got big Fortnite money. You'll be all right.
Yeah, I think you'll pull through.
Yeah. And then next bit of news, Destiny 2 has started their Guardian games, which is their take on the Olympics that won't be happening this year. So way to strike where the iron's hot.
Yeah.
But what it does is it lets you compete with other Guardians to see which Guardian class is the best.
Oh.
So if you're a Titan and you go and you do whatever events there are, or they say they're events, but basically they're just bounties. So
they're just starting gang wars.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what it is.
Fun.
Yeah. So whatever you do gets deposited in Titans. If the hunters for hunters, warlocks with warlocks.
I actually really like that.
And then at the end of this, they'll have first, second, and third, and dole out prizes that way as well.
That sounds like fun, actually.
So, yeah, it seems it's something new, something that they're trying to do.
Team Warlock, Amanda. Team Warlock. You can't touch this because we're in the air for too long. Floating.
I'm having a hard time with Destiny
While you're
recently.
floating, the Titans have already killed 5 people, so you're fine.
Yeah.
And then Manda, you got some Switch news.
I do. So Nintendo released that Switches have recently been hacked. Apparently, people had hacked into Switches using the NN ID, not to be confused with the Nintendo ID, which is very confusing. Back when they had the Wii and the 3DS, you had an ID that you used to log in so that you could access their store and their features and stuff. Obviously, they realized there were vulnerabilities to that, and then they sunset it for the most part, and they replaced it with a Nintendo ID, but you can link the two of them together. So basically, hackers figured out how to get into your new content via the old content. Good news is they've disabled the NNN ID now, so the vulnerability doesn't exist anymore, but that didn't prevent hackers from getting access to information like your name or your date of birth or your username or password. On the plus side, they could not at all access your credit card content, but they might have bought some stuff on your system that maybe you didn't buy. So so check out your Nintendo account.
No, that's not My Little Pony Extreme Adventures.
That was a hacker. That was a
hacker.
It's definitely.
But it shouldn't happen again. But bad news that it did happen.
All right. Well, at least they fixed it as quickly as they could. So there is that. So good on them. And then also speaking of Nintendo, Super Mario Maker 2 got a free update that lets players make worlds now and not just stages. So you can make like warp pipes. You can have bonus stages. So it's like an entire overworld type of thing that you can have with multiple stages inside of it. So I think that's pretty cool. It's their final major update that they're going to release for the game. So now I think from now on it's just going to be little patches if they need to plug anything up.
Okay.
So yeah, good for them. I've seen some pretty amazing content done with it so far, and that's only this week. So I can only imagine what's going to happen over the next several months because players are very crafty in that game.
There was a time where I was going to play that. That time has gone.
Yeah, that time has passed.
That time has passed.
And then finally, Fallout 76 had a very big update as well last week with its Wastelanders update.
Ooh.
And it finally added NPCs to the game. And I think it's a bunch more content as well. I don't know. I don't play the game. I don't think anybody else does as well.
So now it's a bunch of NPCs and our fact checker, AJ.
That's right. There's now finally more NPCs in the game than people playing.
AJ, can you find out just how many people are playing currently on Fallout 76?
I think you can just look in the game and find
just
out.
Look at AJ.
Yeah, it's just the reflection of the screen. That's all he's got to do. Yep, that's it.
I'm excited to hear more about that.
Yeah, same. It does seem like a pretty substantial update. I know on Steam it's one of the top-selling games now as well because I think
cool.
I think it might have finally released to Steam. I can't remember if it was on Steam before,
there's
but
lots
I know
of people
it was
on
the top
there.
sellers this week. So yeah. I mean, good for them. It's got some people drawing people back, which is what it's all about. So yeah, that'll do it for the news. But we still have some sports ball news.
Brian, I'm sorry to tell you this, but
oh no,
Hunter Trip Tanner couldn't make it today.
Oh no!
Stop it, COVID.
Oh, dark. This is the dark episode.
I mean, that's only good news for everybody else.
No,
That's
look,
fine.
I know you're worried about him. He's fine. We think it's just it was just a common cold, but he's going to go ahead and self-isolate anyway. So
Okay,
just
all right,
take
that's good.
precautions. He wanted to
All right,
let you
good.
know. Here, let me get this quote right.
All right,
Sports.
sports.
Period.
All right,
So
not bad. All right, so well, I hope he gets better. And but that at least gives us to a great topic, which is turn up for what?
Turn up for what?
And Joe this week is going to be bringing us.
That's right. Another rainy spring week is upon us in Animal Crossing, and with these spring showers came many washed-up pelicans, item swaps, and some new and exciting visitors. Ooh. Nature Day was a few days ago, and the new shrubs are here. Along with the highly anticipated Nature Day came the arrival of Leaf, the happy smiling sloth shrub salesman. Not to be outdone by the lovable shrub slinging sloth, Mr. Tom Nook himself gave away a hedge creating DIY to help beautify the island and requested that the islanders keep Nature Day spirit all year long. On to the turnips. This week's turnip market, as reported by the Sow Jones, with a low of 34 and a high of 694. The turnip market was hit hard this week by an unexpected closure of many a Nook's cranny worldwide midweek. Although the closure was temporary, it happened midweek when many turnip brokers had estimated a large sale in bells and the jumps would happen, resulting in many turnips not moving and allowing island economies to slow down from last week's huge boost. And that's it for now. This is Joe from Katsusando signing off and reminding you to look up for shooting stars, watch your step to avoid pitfalls, and always save your rusted parts. Back to you, dragons.
Turn up for what? My
I
favorite.
can only imagine what that's going to sound like.
My favorite.
It's so good. All right, well, thank you, Joe, from Katsusando. Appreciate the news, the updates, as always. And that'll do it for this week's news. And Troy.
Yes, Brian.
I believe we're not going to have a topic this week.
Okay, that's
I believe
fair.
it unfortunately probably went out with Hunter and and probably is went sightseeing, and it's not going to be happening this week.
Gotta stay safe out there.
Got to stay safe. So I think it's also self-isolating.
Okay.
Or probably with Hunter. They might be a thing.
It's good
I don't know. That might be an
to
idea.
work in pairs. It's helped us.
It absolutely has. But that does bring us to this week's Dragon of the Week.
It's the Dragon of the Week. Oh, it's so chic. It's the Dragon of the Week. Oh, they're so sweet. Dragon of the Week. Dragon of the Week.
This week's Dragon of the Week, as always, is a time for us to appreciate the developers and the writers and anybody who's even slightly interested or involved in the gaming community. And this week's Dragon of the Week is going to be brought to you by Troy.
That's me. I'm Troy. All right,
So what do you
another
got for
day, another dragon, and I got an A++ dragon for you all this week. I'm going to talk about Carol Kantor, the pioneer of video game market research, whose work with Atari literally created an entire industry within an industry. Damn, Carol. So, I first read about her in that awesome book I mentioned previously entitled Women in Gaming, 100 Professionals of Play. Go buy it now. The go buy it now is not part of the title. I just feel like I should make that clear, but it should be because everyone should go buy it now. It's awesome. Carol Kantor graduated with a major degree in business statistics and a minor in computer science from the University of Texas, where she was like, nah, that's not good enough. And she continued her education to earn a master's in management science and marketing from the University of Colorado. Damn, Carol. That is more schooling than half of our dragons so far. And I'm not even going to talk about us at the table. With all this powerful education in her pocket, she landed a sweet job with Clorox, which is a very popular company right now.
Oh, yeah.
They are nailing it. I don't even know if they need marketing these days. The world is marketing itself for Clorox. But in 1973, this is where things get juicy and fun. Wow. In 1973, she ran into Gene Lipkin, the vice president of Atari Games Company. And this was in 1973, which is important because in 1972, freaking Pong came out. Pong. Like, Atari's on top of the gaming world in 1973, which at the time in the 70s is a very tiny world, but a world nonetheless, and they were on top of it. So Carol walked up to Gene Lipkin, the VP, and invoked all her experience and marketing education to market the most precious commodity she had, herself. And she did so using one of the greatest marketing tools of mankind, a bet.
You can get people to do almost anything with a bet.
It's like, oh, wow, I can make something out of this? You're going to lose something? All right, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Especially in the 70s.
A 70s and a bet and a guy? She's a genius.
Yeah.
So in talking to the VP of Atari, she asked him how he could tell if his games were good or not. He replied, well, we check the coins that people put into the arcade machines. The more coins, the better the game. She straight up was like, I bet you in 6 months, I can tell you which Atari game will do better than the others using market research. And if I can, you have to hire me full time.
Whoa.
Damn, Carol.
and that's on top of that, that's a woman betting a man
I know.
In the 70s.
In the 70s. You just
has
know
to
how
take
thick
it.
his mustache was. So this is an amazing thing for many reasons. One, she's brilliant. Two, in a time period where breaking into the games industry as a woman was damned near impossible, she freaking found a way. But in the end, this was what led her to this trailblaze the legitimacy of gaming as an industry. Her methods were simple and effective and normal by today's standard, but at the time they weren't done. One, she would chill at a bar and just observe people play the arcade machines, see how much fun they're having or not fun they're having, see what the differences are between multiple games they play. Second, she would start focus groups, like, hey, come into this room and play this thing and now answer some questions. I think we did this with like Whiskey or like NBC,
Yeah,
Mandy.
yeah.
Was it NBC? We were at Universal, just like
We watched a bunch of TV promos, and they were like, which one of these seems American to you?
Yeah, this older lady was like, hey, you want free lunch? Come watch this for an hour. We're like, sure. They really bought into the fact that I'm black. I was like, all right, calm down. Stop pandering. And the third thing she would do is she would go to bars or go to arcades, and she would hand out surveys to people that are already playing to be like, hey, if you can, fill this out. Tell me what you think about these games. Needless to say, all this provided invaluable data to Atari, and they were like, whoa, you good. And they hired her full time, and she was like, told you, I can tell the future with math. Damn, Carol. Her research led her to a great commonality she found in gamers, which was that most people like games that are easy to play but hard to master. She landed on this in the 70s. Ruminate on that later. I don't have time right now. But she figured that out way back then. Amazing. Atari would fundamentally change the way they make games. They would first let Carol do her research before the game would even be released. What a concept. And in 1977, Atari was becoming a household name, thanks to Carol in a lot of ways, and she needed to expand her team. She hired 4 more women to work with her, and they would become the first video game user research group ever. By then, Atari had hired women in many fields of work, which was saying a lot for the times and the industry. She then left Atari 2 years later to start a marketing company called Business Builders, where the mission was to promote the art of advertising with gratitude. It's like if I try to sell you this Pop-Tart, I'm going to genuinely thank you for your time, regardless if you buy it or not. But like why wouldn't you? I mean, it's filled with strawberry jam and has frosting on top. And if you taste it and toast it just right, it tastes of what true love really is like. Also, you have kind eyes.
Thank you, Troy. I knew you were looking at me in the camera. Thank you.
Always. She still runs this business and advertises for it to this day. It's mostly online now, but when asked about what her favorite memories are from her time in Atari, she mentions her favorite moments are those moments when the game development engineers would come to observe players in the field and could actually see the results of her observations. It in the early days is what playtesting would then become. So she gave that gift to developers, and the developers were like, hey, maybe we should always playtest our games before just putting them out. And so with all that, for all of her contributions, for what she's done, not only for women in the game industry, but for everyone in the games industry, developers, gamers alike, I only got 2 words left to say. Thanks, Carol. And that's my dragon.
That's wonderful.
Nice.
My
That's a
goodness.
great dragon. And what was her name again?
Carol Kantor.
Carol Kantor. All right. And is she still in the video games industry, or where is she at now?
She is not in the video games industry right now. She is just working on her own advertising business. But every once in a while, she'll go to conventions like Atari conventions or gaming conventions. When this book came out, Women in Gaming: 100 Professionals at Play, go buy it now. They had like a talk back where she was invited to be part of the talkers, and not to say anything, but she is the first person in the book, which says a lot. She really did open the doors for so many women in this industry that she's the top.
At least 4 of them in the
then at the
in
time.
the same company. That's awesome.
And in America too.
Yeah. In America, in the 70s, in the video game industry.
Yikes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well,
it's good stuff.
Great dragon there, Troy. I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
And thank you for that compliment as well. You know,
The
I also
size.
appreciate that as well. I will buy whatever you are selling right now.
All right.
It works. It works.
Meet me at the corner
definitely works.
between Limerick and Jeremy. We'll make a deal.
All right. Well, that unfortunately brings us to the end of this week's episode. As always, though, we have been recording live in the Dragon's Lair, which is our respective living rooms. And you can find us online.
That's right. You can find us online on Twitter and Instagram at Taste of Dragons for some fun content throughout the week. And also check us out on YouTube for some extra videos. And you can also listen to the podcast there in case you're wondering. It's also a way to listen.
It is. And so that'll do it for this week's episode. As always, my name is Brian.
My name is Troy.
Amanda.
And I'm Joe.
And have a great week, everyone.
Gosh.
Dang it, Brian.
I know.
Somebody
I
write
did
it down.
Quish.
It's not even.
Nobody's going to write it
Quish.
down.
You just gotta.
I actually did have it earlier, and I just messed it up.
You just gotta. You gotta look me in the eye with your kind eyes before we start this segment, and then you'll remember.
And then I'll remember. That's what it is. I will say.
Say what?
And we are
The Taste of Dragons.
Have a great week, everyone.
I want to end every segment with that song.